Greetings, you wonderful mutants. It's me, Joel Clark, fresh off of my latest battle with COVID-19. Honestly, on the scale of disasters that have befallen this project, it's pretty low on the totem pole. I'm better now. I actually spent a couple of days while I was convalescing doing a bit more of the tech edit. It's going really well. We have the entire edited text. The first book is done. There's 7 books total. I'm working my way through the second book. This is the most technical of the technical edits. There's a lot of going through the techniques one by one and making certain that they all kind of have the same philosophy behind them. I was a little more, I think I was a little more experimental in the earlier ones as far as like what techniques can do. There's a lot that are just skill boosters, for example, and like there's a lot which have like 5 through 8 as facings and things like that. It's really interesting stuff. Some which cost 2 instead of 3. This is little things. I think that variety is actually probably a good thing. I think I got a little more rigid as I moved forward, and I got a little more. I think I fell a little more in love with the standardization of it all. So the early stuff sticks out a little bit. Overall, I think it's pretty good. I've added a little bit of text to a few of the techniques, especially the elemental stuff. Now that I actually have rules for disasters, I've added them to the techniques that create them. So those all have a lot more flavor. They kind of came off as just big elemental flavored booms before, and now they have a lot more character. They really do something very different. Each of them does. And it feels really good. I'm actually really liking the way those feel. Oh, goodness. I'm also cleaning up a bunch of the multi-attack charms, which I have realized are a little bit messy. The action economy is meant to, especially with multi-attack, it's meant to strike multiple opponents so that single powerful individuals can fight small, weaker groups without being at a disadvantage just because there's more effort on the side of the smaller, weaker group. This is the kind of the boss fight paradigm that I want to exist in the game. And it works pretty well. In practice, it's not a perfect solution, but it works reasonably well. That cost break means that whenever they attack, their one cost is stacked up against the cost of all of the different players, or usually it's 3 or 4 players versus one boss. And so there's not a big imbalance in the prana to action economy. So that's really good. And the same thing with shields. Shields are able to protect against multiple weaker attacks, so that kind of evens out the defense to offense paradigm a little bit, because you have to pay for powerful attacks, but you can also launch a bunch of smaller, weaker attacks, and those can usually eke through, and it gets really expensive even if you're using the weaker defenses in prana to defend against 3 or 4 people launching all of them at you. And it's not, I'm okay with that method of victory. It's not super cinematic, but it works and it feels right whenever you're playing. I would say I don't want that to be the default standard way, and so the part of the paradigm of fixing that is shield techniques that allow you to make a really big high defense that just effectively deflects all of that stuff and requires big like breakthrough attacks to really matter. Also, you can switch between using your shield and using other defenses. So like if you put up a big shield defense and they decide, okay, well, I'm going first and I'm going to use my can opener attack, and then I'm going to break the shield, and then I'm going to use all my little attacks, and all my friends are going to use other little attacks. You can selectively move your shield to the side and be like, okay, you want to play dirty, we can do that, and you can use like a counterattack defense. So if you're going head to head with them and you're a more powerful character and you probably have a higher set, and you definitely have more resources in terms of prana than an individual character, that feels a little more head to head and a little more cinematic, and it feels better in play. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that paradigm was reasonably intact, and it is, and it works. But one of the things that kind of cracks that is multi-attacks whenever you target them at a single individual. What I was doing was having it attack multiple times, and I don't think that's terrible. I do think that it can get out of control, though. Whenever it busts the action economy really, really, really badly. And I don't want to do that. It breaks games. So I want to try to avoid that as much as possible in my game. There are a lot, by the way, of problems like that I had to noodle around while I was making this game. But that's one of them. So the tech edit is there to ensure that multi-attacks aren't quite as cripplingly, ridiculously overpowered as they could potentially be. And I will say I'm pretty pleased with most of them. Limiting it to around 2 additional attacks, especially at master level, isn't like horrifying. And what I've seen a lot of them do, I think I caught wise this at some point as I was writing them. I've seen a lot of them do where you get one major attack and then you like that hits everybody, and then you get minor attacks that are like just like technique rank, and those are still powerful. Don't get me wrong; those can completely make mashed potatoes out of people, but it's just not the same degree. Like even like going from like 5 to 7, it's huge how big of a difference that is. And especially when if you go to like 5 to 9 or something like that, oh god, forget it. That's unbelievable. So yeah, taking a rank 9 attack, which can reduce you to pace, and putting all of your effort into defending it, and then only having like a set, or two to defend against like rank 5 attacks, it feels like adding insult to injury instead of it just being this inevitable grind until you're just pounded into the dirt. Um, so yeah, it's not like I don't want to vanish the utility of multi-attack things, but I do want to make sure they don't have a completely unwarranted primacy. So that's been part of this deck edit. On the horizon, finishing up Chapter 2 is going to be Collab, which I have not really looked at or played with a lot since I made them. They're probably going to need a little help. At the very minimum, I really want to go over all the, because they're dense right now, and I want to go over like what they do specifically, and maybe kind of loosen them up a little so they can accommodate a few more character concepts than the exact thing that they are right now. They're a little restrictive, I think. So I'm getting into that. And there's a fine line you walk with that, where you want it to be restrictive enough that it has character, but not so restrictive that it's a straitjacket for players who take it. I already fixed up the XP system. The Karma system feels really nice now in play. There's a good division between GM long-term temptation XP, and then the short-term I want to role-play in a characterful way and get rewarded for it XP that players do. Like there's a division of roles there that's made clear in the text, and it makes the acquisition of karma feel like a consistent influx of reward for play I want to see rewarded, which is kind of what I conceive of as a like XP system. Like that's the core function of it. Because otherwise, why not just do like a milestone system where you're just leveling up whenever the GM wants you to be more powerful? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. I'm kind of chewing on it. I'm going to see if I can do the rest of the Kung Fu today. I've got about 5 hours to myself, so we'll see what happens. I got 6 techniques or 6 styles done yesterday. I want to go over the multiple action ones one more time. I'll probably get over those one more time after with everything, just to make sure they all kind of are at the same level, but still have enough uniqueness that they're different, and sort of different niches, and there's reason to do more than one. But yeah, I think for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it's checking out so far. Trying to do that next. Not heard from my layout guy, so I'm gonna see if I can't do. The other thing I want to do today is I want to see if I can't do kind of a little mock-up layout with art and everything for Chapter 1, which is done, and just kind of do like a little 2-column thing with some art and see how it looks. And I might, if I get that done today or tomorrow, I'll go ahead and send that out to backers and patrons, and you guys can tell me if you like it. And if you like it and it's not like super onerous or time consuming, I might do that for all of them as I get them done, just in case I don't hear back from Vic in a reasonably timely manner, because it's been about a month now and I really need to get more feedback than that. But yeah, like if I don't hear from him, and I already have it done and laid out, you might get the Joel layout. It's not going to be as nice as Vic would have done it, but I mean it'll still be pretty good, I think, and it'll be done, which is important. I've not been dragging my feet on this thing. The major part that I had to do has been done. The actual writing of the game, the playtesting, the design, and all that. It's actually written and done, and I even got the editing done, so I've not been dragging my feet on it. It's just, we've hit a point where the outsource is now doing its thing, and I'm not in the communication loop for where they are in that. And that's just kind of the nature of outsourcing things. Vic has done layout for me before. He's part of the Five Emperors. Like, I trust him to get it done, But like, I also know just how cursed this whole project has been and how much has gone wrong with it. I mean, like I said, COVID is a minor player in the shit that's gone wrong with this over the last 2 years that we've been doing it. God, more than 2 years now. But yeah, that should give you an idea of just how difficult it's been to bring Lone Wolf Fist to life. I mean, we're getting there. It's making steady progress. It's nice. But I can't help but feel frustrated, at least on everyone's behalf, because just like, I just want to play the goddamn thing, damn it. I want to punch a tank, and I want it to die. And I feel like we've all earned that right. You certainly all have. Anyway, that's a little over 10 minutes, but we're going to call that good. Look forward to the Joel layout of Chapter 1 and the tech edit of Chapter 2 finishing up soon. Talk to you guys very, very shortly from now. Excelsior. Yeah, we'll go with Excelsior. Let's steal that from Stanley, too.